Okay, now we'll see it's time to chow down. Chow down means eat. So the meaning is it's time to eat. Now we will see, here is the conversation between Jyotika and Surya. Jyotika says, how many kilometers have we hiked today? What is the meaning of hike? Walking in the mountains. So it is hike, right? Hike means going up in the mountain on foot. That means by walking, not by some vehicle. So we hike today means we walked up the mountain. How many kilometers have we walked today? That means up to this minute. Surya, I reckon. What is the meaning of I reckon? I reckon means I guess, I imagine. It must be something over 20. Over 20 means 20 kilometers. Over 20 means more than 20 kilometers. I guess it must be something more than 20 kilometers. Jyotika says, no wonder. Yeah, no surprise. Maybe, yeah, over 20 kilometers. I am starving. Means I am very hungry. That is what? I am starving. When you are too hungry, you will say, I am starving. Surya, you are not the only one. What is that? You are not the only one means not only you, me too. It's time to chow down. That means, yeah, even that's the right time to eat, right? So let's eat it. That is the meaning of it. Okay, it's time to chow down means it is the right time to eat. Jyotika says, let's walk down means let's go down to that village down on the left. So on the left side you will find in the down place a village. Let's go there. There is bound to be an eating place of some kind there. We don't know what type of eating place it is, either it is small or big restaurant, whatever it is, right? But once we go there, we may find, or there is bound to be. There is bound to be means there is supposed to be some kind of eating place. Then Surya says, there is. Yes, it is there. I checked it in the guidebook. Where he checked? In the guidebook, tour guide book is there, right? In that he will, there he says, before we set out. Before we set out means before we set our journey outside. Before we start from our home, actually I checked whether there were any eateries. Eateries means any restaurants, eateries, or any eating places nearby on our travel. So he says that, and it is supposed to be pretty good. I think the place we go, right, that is going to be pretty good restaurant, and let's go, let's walk there. Okay, now we will see it in Telugu. First one, Jyotika says, how many kilometers have we hiked today? కొండపైకి అంటే మౌంటైన్స్లోకి ఎన్ని కిలోమీటర్స్ పైకి నడిచాము ఈరోజు అని అడిగింది. సూర్య, ఐ రెక్కన్ అంటే నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను అని, ఐ థింక్ అంటాం కదా, నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను అనేదాన్ని ఐ రెక్కన్ అని కూడా అనొచ్చు. ఇట్ మస్ట్ బి సంథింగ్ ఓవర్ 20. మస్ట్ బి సంథింగ్ అంటే మీకు అప్రాక్సిమేట్గా తెలియదు ఇక్కడ, అందుకే సంథింగ్ అన్నారు. ఓవర్ 20 అంటే 20 కిలోమీటర్స్ కన్నా ఎక్కువే అని. అంటే 20 కిలోమీటర్స్ కన్నా సంథింగ్ అంటే ఎంత, 21 కావచ్చు, 22 కిలోమీటర్స్ కావచ్చు, ఎంతైనా కావచ్చు. మస్ట్ బి అంటే తప్పకుండా మీరు షూర్గా చెప్పగలుగుతున్నారు కాబట్టి మస్ట్ బి అన్నారు ఇక్కడ. సో జ్యోతిక అంటుంది, నో వండర్, యా ఆశ్చర్యమేం లేదు, 20 కిలోమీటర్స్ ఈజీగా నడుచుంటామని. ఐఎమ్ స్టార్వింగ్ అంటే నాకు చాలా ఆకలిస్తుంది ఇప్పుడు అని. అప్పుడు సూర్య అంటాడు, యు ఆర్ నాట్ ద ఓన్లీ వన్, నీకే కాదు ఆకలిస్తుంది అంటే ఇండైరెక్ట్గా నాకు కూడా ఆకలిస్తుందని సూర్య చెప్పినట్టు. ఇట్స్ టైమ్ టు చో డౌన్ అంటే ఏంటి, ఇది ఎటు తినే టైమే కదా అని చెప్పాడు. జ్యోతిక, లెట్స్ వాక్ డౌన్ టు దట్ విలేజ్ డౌన్ ఆన్ ద లెఫ్ట్. ఆ లెఫ్ట్ ఉంది కదా రూట్, ఆ లెఫ్ట్ రూట్లో డౌన్లో కనిపిస్తుంది కదా విలేజ్, అక్కడికి కిందకి నడుచుకుంటూ పోతే దెర్ ఈజ్ బౌండ్ టు బి అన్ ఈటింగ్ ప్లేస్ ఆఫ్ సమ్ కైండ్ దేర్. ఏదో ఒక రకమైన ఒక ఈటింగ్ ప్లేస్ అంటూ అక్కడ ఉంటుంది. అది దెర్ ఈజ్ బౌండ్ టు బి అన్ ఈటింగ్ ప్లేస్ అంటే. అప్పుడు సూర్య అంటాడు, దెర్ ఈజ్ ఉంది. ఐ చెక్డ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద గైడ్ బుక్లో ఆల్రెడీ చూసా, ట్రావెల్ గైడ్ బుక్లో. ఎప్పుడు, బిఫోర్ వీ సెట్ అవుట్ అనేది ఏంటి, ఏదైనా ఒక జర్నీ మీరు స్టార్ట్ చేస్తుంటే దాన్ని సెట్ అవుట్ అంటారు. ఒక జర్నీ, ఒక ట్రావెల్ కానీ ఏదైనా ప్రారంభించేది దాన్ని సెట్ అవుట్. ఇడియోమాటిక్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్, ఫ్రేజల్ వర్బ్స్ అంటాం కదా అట్లా. అండ్ ఇట్స్ సపోజ్ టు బీ ప్రెటీ గుడ్, ఎందుకంటే అది చాలా మంచిదే అయి ఉంటుంది. సపోజ్ టు బీ, ఎందుకంటే ఈ ప్లేసుల్లో ఒకటంటూ ఉందంటే అది పాపులరే అయి ఉంటుంది ఖచ్చితంగా. లెట్స్ గో. వెళ్దాం పద. So here is another expression which is grab a bite to eat. Here the pronunciation of this one a as a. Grab a bite, bite as bite, grab a bite to eat. Okay, now what is the meaning of grab? Grab means like when you are in a hurried way, when you are very busy, right, you just take it quickly, right? So when you take something quickly, that is what grabbing. Okay, so grab a bite means a piece, something to eat. Okay, so grab something to eat because you are very busy at the time and you want to eat it very quickly because you are running short of time. Okay, so in this situation, grab a bite to eat is a wonderful expression when you are very busy in a hurried way, you want to finish your lunch. Now John and Mary both are colleagues and they are going to talk about grab a bite to eat at canteen. We'll see what John says to Mary. John says, hello stranger, because they are very close colleagues, still he is using the word stranger. How are things? How are things means how are you? Why he is a stranger? Now you will get to know after reading this. Mary, fine thanks. How about you? Okay, so how are things? For this greeting, this is actually a greeting. Instead of how are you, he is asking how are things. That means how is everything, right? Or how are you doing? Here the right proper response is fine thanks. After this is compulsory. How about you is compulsory. Okay, now what is the another expression? Great, right? This is the proper response to how about you. If anybody asks you how about you, then you should say great. But what are you doing here? Because see, we never see you in the canteen, because many times, right, whenever we come to the canteen, at the time we don't see you here in the canteen. So he is using but. It's like something like conditional thing, right? But what are you doing here? We never see you. It's a regular thing because John will never see her in the canteen during lunchtime. So this is simple present tense because it's a daily routine. As part of daily routine, he will never see Mary in the canteen. So for regular things, daily routines, you need to use simple present tense. Now Mary says, that's right. Yeah, I never come to the canteen. She said, I always make sandwiches. When you prepare some dishes, right? Dishes or something like this, sandwiches. Here, make you need to use. I make sandwiches. I always make sandwiches. You can say always, you can say sometimes, but here, always is there. So that means every day, right? Every day she makes sandwiches. That is the reason, right? She is not coming to the canteen. That is the reason he used stranger. Now you got it? Why John says hello stranger in the beginning, right? Now, and eat them at my desk. Okay, so Mary sits at her desk while eating those sandwiches during her lunch hour. But I didn't have time to make any. See this word, any, make any. Here there is no word like sandwiches after any, right? Because any means here in this sentence itself, any means any sandwiches. But I did not have time to make any sandwiches this morning. Okay, then John says, so he is actually coming to the point, right? He understood the situation, so he is concluding like, so you have decided to grab a bite to eat here. That means as you are very busy, you came to the canteen like a stranger and you are going to catch some food or grab some food to eat it for your lunch. Then Mary says, that's right. So what would you recommend? What would you recommend for today's short order menu? Pronunciation is menu. Many say wrongly like menu, right? Menu is wrong pronunciation for MENU. For hotel orders also. right? This is a short order menu because she doesn't eat much. Okay, she eats only sandwiches, so it's only today's short order menu. Now we'll say the pronunciation again one more time because there are some new words in this. Let's say in more rhythmic way, falling and raising in our tone. First one is what? Grab a bite to eat. Grab a bite. Okay. Now second thing, stranger. R is silent because before R we have vowel E, right? So R is silent. So stranger. How are things? After G we have S. Here the pronunciation is Z in the ending for S sound. Okay. So things. How are things? Fine, thanks. And how about I is in a low tone, about, okay, that is in high tone, you in a long consonant sound. Okay, how about you? Great. The pronunciation of this word is great. But what are you doing here? R is silent, right? Here we never, again R is silent in the word never, see you in the canteen. That's right. Again the pronunciation is right, not right. Okay, it's right. That's right. I always, again after always we have yes, right? So always, I always. Here the pronunciation of I is also I, not I. I always make sandwiches and eat them at my desk. Here the pronunciation of my is at my desk, not someone else's desk, right? At my desk. But I didn't have time to make any this morning. Here, see this one, the word any. It's falling in your tone because in this entire sentence, but I didn't have time to make any this morning. The emphasis, the stress is only on one particular word, that is any. Because I didn't have time to make this morning, that is not important here in her meaning. I didn't have time to make any sandwiches, that is very important for her, right? So that is the reason she uses the falling in her voice, like, but I didn't have time to make any this morning. So when I say any, my voice is falling on this word. John. So you've, what is the pronunciation here? You apostrophe V. So you've, short form, right? This is just for short form of you have. Decided. After decide, if you have the, it will be id sound, not ed. So you have, that means you've decided. So you've decided to grab a bite to eat here. Then Mary says, that's right. So what would you recommend? Recommend. Okay, this is actually what? It's a verb, right? So here recommend. This part is very important. Verb. For verbs, second part is very important. So what would you recommend? Would is what? More professional, right? Instead of what will you recommend, you better say would you recommend. For today's, again here also Z sound. Today's short order, again R silent. Menu. In the word men, YOU, that type of consonant sound also will be there. So menu, two parts are there in this. Men, again small dot, you, menu, like this. Okay, now we will see it in Telugu explanation, we better understand it. Next, John says, hello stranger, how are things? ఓకే, ఎవరో కొత్త వాళ్ళు వస్తున్నారు అంటాం హలో స్ట్రేంజర్ అంటే. హలో స్ట్రేంజర్, ఎవరో కొత్త వాళ్ళు లాగా ఉన్నారు, హౌ ఆర్ థింగ్స్, ఎలా ఉన్నారు అని అడిగాడు. మేరీ, ఫైన్ థ్యాంక్స్, థ్యాంక్ యూ, బాగున్నా, హౌ అబౌట్ యూ, మీరు ఎలా ఉన్నారు అని అడిగింది మేరీ. అప్పుడు జాన్, గ్రేట్, బాగున్నా, వాట్ ఆర్ యూ డూయింగ్ హియర్, కానీ మీరు ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, వీ నెవర్ సీ యూ ఇన్ ద క్యాంటీన్, ఎప్పుడు మీరు క్యాంటీన్లోనే కనపడలేదు ఈరోజు వరకు అని. వీ నెవర్ సీ యూ ఇన్ ద క్యాంటీన్. మేరీ, దట్స్ రైట్, కరెక్టే, రైటే మీరు చెప్పేది. ఐ ఆల్వేస్ మేక్ శాండ్విచెస్ అండ్ ఈట్ దెమ్ అట్ మై డెస్క్. నేను ఎప్పుడు శాండ్విచెస్ ఇంట్లోనే చేస్తాను, నేనే చేస్తాను, నేనే ఎక్కడ తింటాను, మై డెస్క్ దగ్గరనే తినేస్తాను లంచ్ టైంలో. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టైమ్ టు మేక్ ఎనీ దిస్ మార్నింగ్. ఈరోజు మార్నింగ్ నాకు టైమే దొరకలేదు ఈ శాండ్విచెస్ చేసుకోవడానికి లంచ్ కోసం అని చెప్పింది. అప్పుడు జాన్, సో యూ డిసైడెడ్ టు గ్రాబ్ అ బైట్ టు ఈట్ హియర్, అంటే ఇక్కడికి వచ్చేసి ఏదో దొరికితే అది తీసుకొని తిందామని చెప్పేసి హడావుడిలో వచ్చారా అని అడిగాడు. మేరీ, దాట్స్ రైట్. సో వాట్ వుడ్ యూ రికమెండ్ ఫర్ టుడేస్ షార్ట్ ఆర్డర్ మెన్యూ? సో ఈరోజు కొంచెం తినడానికి మీరు ఏదైనా రికమెండ్ చేస్తారా, ఏం రికమెండ్ చేస్తారు అని అడిగింది మేరీ జాన్తో. ఓకే.